Call to order the pre-council meeting for today, Monday, August 16th. Presiding Honorable Mayor Bob Odekirk.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Odekirk.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Councilman Hugg is taking his son back to college. He will not be in attendance today.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin called, he's running late. Councilwoman Quillman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon, she emailed me that she would not be in, at the meeting this evening. First on the agenda is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Is there anyone present that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, we'll have the city manager discuss tomorrow night's agenda items.
Thank you. First thing we want to talk about is position vacancies. They are 38721, firefighter, paramedic. Again, all these positions actually are going to be either for retirement or somebody resigning from these positions. So we'd like to replace that. The patrol officer, community development and planner, and legal, paralegal, and a public utilities plant operations laboratory technician. So those are, again, all as a result of either a retirement or somebody resigning. So there's no one new there. The next item is 388-21. That has been stricken from the agenda. 389-21, which is an award of a contract for Eastern Avenue on Washington Street, and that's a roadway construction project. Next is a change order, 390-21, for pipeline in the amount of $168,436.03. And it's an increase based on some of the additional work that they've had to do on that particular project to be able to bring it to completion. Next is 390, this is ordinances, 392-21. And this is an ordinance. They're asking to take a piece of property and make it from one unit building into two, and part of that is going to be the Starbucks, and part is going to be something else to be named in the future. So we don't know what that looks like, but we're sure that it'll be something really awesome at that location. Next would be an ordinance approving a variation of use to allow the continuation of a house. There was two houses. It's number 393-21. There were two houses on one particular piece of property that have been there for over 100 years. There's a family that has bought that property. They'd like to be able to renovate those two pieces of property. One that they're going to live in, and the other is going to be a relative that they plan on moving in. It's already been there. It's been that way for over 100 years. There's been no objection. They agreed to make an additional parking spot available. Next is 394-21, and that's a ordinance approving a special use permit to allow for equipment sales, and that's HVAC sales. They're currently located in Shanahan, and they're going to move out here to Joliet and sell their products out of that particular location. There's been no problem with zoning or planning, so we all support that. Next is 397-21. It's a resolution approving intergovernmental grant with the State of Illinois Department of Natural Resources. And this is a continuation from when we allowed staff to apply for this grant initially, where the city would pay 30% and the state would pay 70%. It actually fell out that the state is going to give us 73% of the money, and we'll have to come up with 27% of the money on that particular project. And it's limit the use of for historic properties, and to put that information into a web-based platform so we can better track some of our historic properties here in Joliet. And that concludes 398-21, which is again appropriating funds for the another roadway project, and that's part of the continuing 2021 roadway reconstruction program. So that we're waiting for the Public Service Committee to review that matter, but we expect them to be able to pass that. Next are my comments, and I just wanted to say to let the council members know that I put in everybody's box, and and all the senior staff members here, a book by James and Deborah Fallows. It's called Our Towns, and it talks about the things that make cities viable that are about our size. So there's some stories in here about cities that have done great things that are our size. There's some stories about people who have made missteps and had some opportunities and haven't been successful. So I would ask that you take a read of that and get a better idea, maybe help everyone understand sometimes where I'm trying to go. We're not always going to get there in the most expedited way, but I'd invite not only the council members and the staff to read this, but the folks in Joliet. It's also now on HBO. There's so if you want to take the shortcut and like you did you were in your high school, instead of having to read Romeo and Juliet, you just watch the movie. But it's also on HBO, and it's well worth a look.
What, no Cliff Notes?
Yeah, yeah. I would also like to ask, we're looking at new software that integrates the way we do business for the planning department. So when an architect supports or puts in plans, right now they bring in the giant paper copies, and I'm sure you've seen them floating around City Hall. They're huge. So other cities, successful cities, have those electronically submitted. It makes it faster, it makes it easier for the architects, it makes it easier for our folks to take a look at that and send those corrections back. There's no picking up a phone or having somebody come in and submit supplemental drawings. So I think that's going to be a great step forward. So I'd like to have Dave Brainer, our IT guy, come on in, Dave, and just talk a couple of minutes about that.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. As Jim was mentioning, we are in a completely manual environment, and in 2021, the internet and the ability to get large screens, we can actually take these massive plans and work with them on computer systems that are available to us now. The software that we're looking to go after is an interactive one that we not only would be able to share amongst ourselves within City Hall, but share amongst builders, architects, and whatnot. This does two major things. First is we can track and understand where things are, so we can find out what the long pole in the tent is, so we can move things along. But the other is it creates a complete audit of where and how people were requesting certain things to be done. The other communities we've talked to that are using this really like it. It's a journey. I'm going to warn you that this is a process to move from a manual to an automated environment is going to be a challenge, but one that's well worth it. And I think one that will separate us from a lot of other cities. In fact, there's a lot of, for example, Walmart, if they come in now and you don't have an automated environment like this, you're often, that's a demerit. And it's actually, it's used against you when people are considering where to move you, because it sends a message of your sophistication of your town. So we're moving forward on this project. We're going to be calling a CTIS meeting to go into some of the details, and the devils are in the details on projects like this. And we're hopefully having something rolled before the end of the year. And we're going to slow roll this with doing commercial first, but that's really where the bulk of our business is, ironically. So for us, we're going to focus on the commercial first. Once that gets rolling, then we'd roll resi on top of that as well. You guys have any questions on this? This is pretty radical, but it's a good radical, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
So does this interface with the software programs we have today, the Tyler Munis
We're
programs?
gonna have to build an interface to Tyler Munis. The good news is we're on the most recent version of Tyler Munis, which has, I'm not gonna get too technical, but it's got this thing called an API stack, which basically means it allows us to talk to other cloud vendors. So yes, and it will allow us to continue to do permitting. So the money side of this is not what we're looking to do here. The money side is, the permitting side will stay in Tyler Munis, but then we'll bridge that information over to the planning software. So all the people that work in the planning world can then get into all those details. I'm not concerned about that interface, but it's a good question. Anything else?
Okay, no, thank you, Dave.
All right,
Thank you for
thank you,
that.
guys.
It was brought to my attention here that I forgot a resolution, which was the authorizing execution of a memorandum of understanding between the county and ourselves, which is 396-21. And that's about the parking lot that used to be at the, by the old courthouse. Currently, the county does not have a parking enforcement unit. So in exchange for us enforcing the parking over there, we will then be given the revenue generated from any tickets that are written. So we won't have to share with them, and it helps them have people then pay. There were some initial issues with that, but we got those resolved. So I think it's a win for the city. So I believe I got everything else. Am I missing anything, Madam Clerk? No? Those conclude my remarks.
Next is public comments. First is John O'Leary.
Hello, everybody. My name is John O'Leary. This is my wife, Cheryl O'Leary. She met with Pat earlier today. He suggested we come to this meeting and try to see if we can move a project we've been working on, is trying to get the building at 914 Plainfield Road approved to function as a nice Airbnb. And we purchased this building almost a year ago now with sort of the understanding from the city that we could do that, but it got caught up in zoning, antiquated regulations and other things that I'm not really versed on. Nonetheless, we're here almost a year later. Project is, fixed up, looks pretty nice. We're pretty excited about what it could be. And we're wondering if the city council could perhaps move forward with approving this
what's up with the
Airbnb at 914 Plainfield Road.
Jim, do you know offhand the history of this?
No, I do not.
Maybe have Derek,
Mayor.
or you know, Chris?
There was, it's intended that at the next land use meeting, we will have a regulatory framework in place to move forward for short-term rentals in the city. This was delayed before. This gentleman withdrew his petition earlier, months ago, because there was some concern about that, and we're ready to get back to that and move that framework forward.
Question, would this framework then apply for anybody who would be looking to do something similar with their own properties? Would this just universally apply?
It would apply to short-term rentals, that's correct.
Right. Again, as we look, I think we don't want to conflate the two issues of the single-family home rentals on a permanent basis is a completely different issue. And that's what we're trying to work on, to make sure that we're clear on a short-term rental versus someone living for a long-term lease in a particular
So
home.
legislative committee addresses it, comes to the council, assuming that whatever is proposed gets approved, then his project is allowed to move forward?
As long as it complies with the regulations, yes.
Okay. Is that a good answer?
I think that's a good answer. Am I hearing that perhaps after the next meeting, this could get approved potentially? When can I get this up and running?
Legislative committee would be this month?
September 8th, so we'll have more answers after that meeting.
Okay, so we wait till September 8th then, and we'll see where we're at.
That committee, right. Presumably something will come in front of the council at the next meeting, I think the 17th then. We meet the first and second, Monday and Tuesday, the first and third weeks of the month.
Okay,
So if it's not on the second September meeting, it would be on October meeting then,
okay, so
to take action.
should I come back then at the September meeting?
The legislative committee meeting in September would be your next step.
Okay,
That's a committee meeting, you can find it on our website, but what day is it, September?
September 8th.
September 8th.
so for me, September 8th is the critical date to remember, to come back and,
You can address the committee, they're gonna review a proposed ordinance which would deal not specifically with your property, but your property, your project would fall underneath
okay, and
this.
it'd be beneficial for us to come to that meeting then and just
I think so.
answer any questions?
Address the
Okay,
committee, yeah.
September 8th, we come back to talk about updated language. Okay,
But thank you.
thank you.
Cheryl O'Leary.
I kind of ditto what he says. We've been working on this project for a while now and talked to Neighborhood Services originally, and they had given us the green light for it, but we didn't know that there was another entity we were supposed to ask. So I brought in some pictures. I was wondering if I could just hand them to you or
You could-
you and just.
Pass them to the clerk when you're
Yeah.
done.
And I just wanted to say that Airbnbs are already in Joliet. I looked them up and there's more than probably 12 already, so. And they're allowed in a lot of different cities, and it's just a different approach for somebody to stay, short term. It's just more of a comfortable home-like setting instead of a hotel. And, hopefully these pictures could just explain a little bit more than I am doing, so.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments?
Mayor, question.
Yes.
This is the first I heard that we have 12 in Joliet. Who's monitoring that? And did you know that? Does anybody on this council know that we already have 12 here?
I didn't know we had one, there's more than 12.
No, Councilwoman, I did not know that there were 12 Airbnbs in the city of Joliet. I did not know.
And Neighborhood Services is saying it's okay?
I don't believe that, they must be flying under the radar. I can't see them.
I think we need to check into this before it even comes to
Yes, Councilwoman.
legislative. And the 12, I would like to know where these 12 are located. Assuming they're 12, yeah. No, I want to see it.
Well, we should be able to find
know
it just
about it.
going through the Airbnb app and just searching in Joliet and should list all of them.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Councilman?
If we, even just using the interface of the app, we should be able to just do a search for Joliet and see what kind of listings
See
come
what
up.
pops
Oh,
up
okay,
in there.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what you said.
I didn't know we had one, there's more, than possibly 12, but it'd be good. Yeah, we could search it up right quick and, yeah. We'll search it up right quick and then they'll give us some information on it.
If there's no one else under public comments, I did receive a request to go into closed session. Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition or conveyance pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilwoman Gavin?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Medrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Brady was absent. Motion carried.